Hello, everybody. This is Henry Kramer, 605 Chaser. I'll be with you in just one moment. Appreciate you joining. I will get started here shortly. All right, everybody, this is Henry Kramer, 605 Chaser. I am in South Dakota. If you're just joining us, I'm in South Dakota, and so obviously I am not chasing a hurricane, but I did want to make sure that viewers are aware of what's going on, the latest information with Hurricane Milton. So here it is, as you can see. Hurricane Milton is expected to be, well, is a Category 4 right now, 155 mile an hour winds, 918 MSLP, that's the millibars, and it's expected to be not really moving a whole lot over the next several hours here, but once it gets past this point, really going to pick up some speed, and then eventually making a catastrophic impact to areas around Tampa Bay area at a max gusts of 160 miles an hour. Late tonight, you're going to start seeing some of these coastal lines already start feeling the impact later today with tropical storm winds. The current these swaths here with these different bands. This is hurricane force winds, basically showing hurricane force winds all throughout here. Obviously, the outer bands less intense, but still all hurricane force winds. So Tampa Bay, Clearwater, St. Petersburg, we're expecting, based on National Hurricane Center information, expecting Sarasota, Longboat Key, Brayton Beach, Bradenton, all those areas really expecting to have major impacts. Let's go ahead and get to the latest information from the National Hurricane Center. Let's get that going here. One moment. All right, so National Hurricane 12Z update does show, thankfully, I know I showed y'all earlier in the week, things were trending for a Cat 5, possibility of a Cat 5 landfall. Thankfully, that is not the case, but still going to be impactful category 4 hurricane. The latest peak storm surge information that we have is showing, as you can tell, Tampa Bay, a catastrophic impact for storm surge, 8 to 12 feet. Even Boca Grande is 10 to 15 feet. And then down by Charlotte Harbor, those harbors are really going to be feeling the impact. 8 to 12 foot storm surge. Even down to the Florida Keys, you've got impacts there. So this is going to be a very impactful storm. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the rainfall forecast. There you go. Plenty of rain, 12 to 16. Some areas, obviously, way out in the Gulf, going to have that 20 inches of rainfall over the next 1 to 2 days. Major impacts. The other thing that I wanted to give you is an impact for the tornadoes. As you can see, we do have the enhanced risk for much of the central part of Florida, and that would include Cape Coral, Palm Bay, Melbourne, Florida, Kissimmee, Florida, Bradenton. Slight risk for those. And there's the 10% swath that we have for the tornado potential. Coincidentally, we do actually have a tornado warning area right now. If I can get this back to this, let's go ahead and put the radar loop here. Get the right radar and we'll be good to go. Alright, as you can see, there's a little bit of a curvature here. It's hard to tell because the radars that we have available are not within the range that we need to be able to see all of that additional detail that I typically like to show you. So that is a tornado warning. There's radar indicated for the next 10 minutes, moving north at 25 miles an hour. So we're going to see lots and lots of tornado activity throughout the day as this hurricane approaches. Let's go ahead and take a look at these risks one more time here in a radar omega look. So this is where the lower risk is. Obviously, interesting to see that it's 5%. We do already have tornadoes there. There is a significant impact. Of course, this area has got tornado watches for much of the day and into tomorrow. Let me go ahead and shut off the hurricane force graphic, wind probabilities, and show the tropical storm wind probability over the next 120 hours. So the tropical storm winds are expected to be all the way over to Palm Bay throughout. And then, as you can see, even the eastern coastline is going to have one heck of an impact because 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts as it moves east once it makes landfall later today into early morning hours of tomorrow. And we're expecting 1 p.m. tomorrow. It'll be making its way over to the east side with those tropical storm force winds. And if we take a quick peek at some of the information here, you can see it's pretty calm. I mean, it's starting to get a little choppy with those over by Anna Maria Island, but you can certainly see things are approaching as the pressure tendencies are going downwards. So that's the information that we have from that. If we take a look further into like Clearwater area, Palm Harbor, pretty calm right now, calm before the storm, but flood warnings are already being posted, of course, as that is expected. And then we do have, whoops, get the right one here. Mitchell Beach doesn't look too bad right now. Let's go ahead and go back to some of the latest information here with HAFSB, a hurricane model, so that you can see what that's looking like here. Let's go ahead and get that. And if we put this into loop, this is on the 10th, 03, so that's basically when it's expected to hit landfall. You can barely see the millibars there, but it's 950 is what this particular model is suggesting. And then eventually, when it makes landfall, those millibars go up. Goes off the coastline and then re-intensifies, or kind of gets kind of a cluster as it moves into the Atlantic Ocean. The other thing that I wanted to point out is this has been staying pretty consistent. You know, still expecting to have an impact that Tampa Bay area, which is pretty significant. There's the storm surge again, 8 to 12 feet. And there is the amount of rainfall that's anticipated. I'm going to go back to this graphic here to show you. As of 8 a.m., advisory 17A was showing where it's a major hurricane as it hits landfall. And then the blue is markings as tropical storm warnings that have been issued, and of course hurricane warnings on both sides of Florida. This is even going to be impactful for areas in South Carolina and the coastline of Georgia because of how massive this is going to be. Speaking of massive, let's go ahead and show that graphic here. I'm going to shut off a few things before I get too congested on this. All right, so let's take a look at the satellite loop of this and what it looks like. Pretty massive storm. Look at, like, this goes from all, this whole thing, just massive storm. As you can see, it's swirling off the coast there. So as we go back to this, again, it's expected to be a tropical storm, 2 a.m. Friday, but it's going to wreak havoc. So the other thing that I wanted to point out to you that we need to mention is another concern. And I'll show you, since I have my South Dakota folks here, I do want to show you some runs with the GFS, because we're expecting things to get much, much colder in the very, very near future. As you can see, these the reds mark temperatures nice and warm, but then as you can see, we get the colder air approaching as we get into Monday. And actually Monday we're expecting in South Dakota area, some areas Monday will expect some widespread frost. Lows are going to be 29 degrees. We're going to have a difficult time Monday, Columbus Day, to even get into the 50s. So the cold weather is here to stay for a little while for those. But as the projection shows, the warmth does try to come back. But then when we get into like the mid part of the month, the cold comes creeping back in, and really, really wreaks havoc. And that's why I was saying the 50 is going to be a little tough to get that. And the widespread cool air continues throughout this whole region as that dome that we've had for such a long period of time eventually breaks. But we do finally warm back up in the later part. As you can see, the warm air comes approaching after that. We have a few bouts of reminding us that we are in the northern part of North America, and it is certainly cold. The temperatures certainly are expected to be pretty significant, much warmer than normal throughout. So let's go ahead and keep trekking along, but then we do have another cold front for the following weekend. So our weekends are going to be super cold. It's looking. I'm planning a trip to Nebraska, so and I'm going to be camping in a tent. So prayers for me, but prayers more so for people in Florida, because we're going to show you another thing here in just a minute. So there you can see for areas of South Dakota and much of the central part of the U.S. getting that cold weather. Let's go ahead and show, if I can get to, there we go. I want to show you based on the GFS what this is expecting. So we currently have obviously Hurricane Milton there, and as we go through, you'll want to make note of the dates here. Okay, so just keep in mind that. And the reason why I want to show you this is as we get further into the month of October, take a look at what's peeking its head a little bit down here. Yep, that is our next possibility of a low-grade hurricane, but nonetheless, this is going to be more impactful for areas like Cuba and the southern tip of Florida as a low pressure develops. There it is around the 19th, developing a low pressure. Again, probably difficult to pinpoint if it's going to be an actual hurricane. Hopefully it just stays as a tropical storm. Hopefully actually it doesn't amount to anything, but wanted to make sure that those folks in Florida are aware of their possibility of more moisture coming, as if you didn't need any more. All right, the next thing that I wanted to show you is wind advisories. Of course, that looks like it's outdated, so I don't want to show you that. But the arrival times, again, most likely arrival times, we're showing Wednesday 8 p.m. And even today by 2 p.m. Starting to see things really hit. That's the most likely. Earliest reasonable, yeah. So that's Wednesday 2 p.m. expecting tropical force winds along that coastline. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at a few other things I want to see. We're starting to see some waves really pick up here, so if I move this over here, you can certainly see this is, where is this at? This is over by Anna Maria Island. So you can certainly see the pressure 1005, and it is falling. Some of these other areas, Mitchell Beach, still not too bad, but again, it's whirling through there for sure. Let's take a quick peek at one of these buoys, and gusts are already 42 miles an hour. And then let's take a look at the wave height out here. We have 18-foot waves. even 10 foot in the southern part. So let's go ahead and take a look at a weather model to get an idea of what this is expected to look like. And then we're going to probably let you all go. So this is what we're expecting it to continue. This particular weather model is a hurricane model. There's what it's expected to do. Bring that back down here so you guys can see the full view. There we go. And notice the times up here, 10 a.m. tomorrow. They start seeing relief by tomorrow afternoon. And then it moves over out into the great abyss, so to speak. What do we have going on for any others? Well, we do have this overall medium chance. But my thought is that this is probably, this tropical development chance is probably going to be hindered because once Hurricane Milton's remnants goes through here, it's going to stir things up and disrupt that. So I wouldn't worry too much about this at this point in time, but you never know what could happen. So that's a possibility of some development there based on National Hurricane Center. Formation chance through 48 hours is medium. Formation chance through 7 days is 40%. So fairly, it shows low, medium, but not too bad. And then these are all hurricane warnings in the pink, and we got the tropical storm warnings all the way up here. If I go through the composite reflective one more time, just to show you areas, as you can see, South Carolina is in the tropical storm watch, because depending on how this wobbles as it approaches the Florida coastline, it could make it could end up expanding and getting to the point where those tropical force winds end up hitting South Carolina area. So that's the latest information that we have from 605 Chaser Studio. Thoughts and prayers to everyone that is helping with the relief of Hurricane Helene that happened, as well as who's going to be assisting with Hurricane Milton. I wish I had the finances and capability of making my way down there and helping those folks. Unfortunately, I do not. So all I can do is send prayers and best wishes that things will get better. So with that being said, I'm going to let y'all go. God bless y'all and stay safe. We'll have another update late tonight as the hurricane wreaks havoc on